Good morning, student. Today we are going to learn about digital modulation formats, advantages of digital communication system, digital modulation techniques means types of digital modulation techniques and its applications. After the completion of today's session, you are able to discuss different digital modulation formats and advantages of digital communication system. Explain different digital modulation techniques and discuss application of different modulation techniques or schemes. First we start from digital modulation formats. When we have to transmit a digital signal over a long distance, we need continuous wave modulation. For this purpose, the transmission medium can be in form of radio, cable or other type of channel. The modulating digital signal modulates some parameters like frequency, phase or amplitude of the carrier. Due to this process, there is some deviation in carrier frequency. This deviation is known as the bandwidth of the channel. Such type of transmission is known as bandpass transmission and the communication channel is known as bandpass channel. The word bandpass is used since the range of frequencies does not start from the 0 Hz. The range of frequency from 0 Hz is known as low pass signal and such channel is known as low pass channel. Okay. As we discussed earlier, the modulating signal modulates some parameters like frequency, phase or amplitude of the carrier. So, if an amplitude of the carrier is changes depending on the input digital signal, then it is called ASK or amplitude shift keying. This process is quite similar to analog amplitude modulation. The FSK and PSK. In FSK, the frequency of the carrier changes according to the input digital signal. And in PSK, phase of the carrier changes according to the input given. The FSK and PSK has constant amplitude envelope. Because of constant amplitude of FSK and PSK, the effect of non-linearities, noise interference is minimum on signal detection. However, these effects are more in ASK. Therefore, FSK and PSK are preferred over ASK. Okay. See here. In these waveforms, a single feature of the carrier undergoes modulation. Means here amplitude, here frequency and here phase. So this one is the ASK, this one is the FSK and this one is the PSK. Here amplitude varies. In the first one the amplitude varies, means when 1 is given only at that time we get our output, and when 0 is given there is no output. In the second case, see here the number of cycles are varies, okay, as per the input given, and in the last one the phase changes. Okay. So in digital modulations, instead of transmitting one bit at a time, we transmit 2 or more bits simultaneously. This is known as MRA transmission. This type of transmission results in reduced channel bandwidth. However, sometimes we use 2 quadrature carriers for modulation. This process is known as quadrature modulation. The choice is made in favor of a scheme which possesses as many of the design characteristics. Which type of design characteristics? That are maximum data rate, minimum probability of symbol error, minimum transmitted power, maximum channel bandwidth, maximum resistance to interfering signals, minimum circuit complexity. So this is all about digital modulation formats. Next is the advantages of digital communication system. So the effect of distortion, noise and interference is much less in digital signals. Digital circuits are more reliable, means more accurate also. Here we get a accurate output. Means let's compare a example of analog multimeter and digital multimeter. In analog multimeter, we have to calculate the exact value by seeing to that pointer that is deflecting on the scale. But in digital multimeter, we directly able to see the exact value that is given in digits in the display. So it is more accurate. Digital circuits are easy to design and cheaper than analog circuits. The hardware implementation in digital circuits is more flexible than analog. Then the occurrence of crosstalk is very rare in digital communication, as this one is more secure. Next is the digital modulation technique. Digital modulation techniques can be of two types, that is coherent and non-coherent modulation technique. So here it is written coherent or non-coherent. So what is coherent digital modulation technique? Coherent digital modulation techniques are those techniques which employ coherent detection. In coherent detection, the local carrier generated at the receiver is phase locked with the carrier at the transmitter. If we simply say, means the carrier that is used in the transmitter section, same carrier is also used in the receiver section. Thus, the detection is done by correlating received noisy signal and locally generated carrier. The coherent detection is a synchronous detection, means here synchronization is required between the carrier used in transmitter and receiver section. Second one is the non-coherent digital modulation technique. Non-coherent digital modulation techniques are those techniques in which the detection process does not need receiver carrier to be phase locked with transmitter carrier. Means here synchronization is not required. The advantages of such type of system is that the system becomes very simple, as synchronization is not required. But there is a disadvantage also present. What is that disadvantage? That is error probability increases. Okay. Next is the application of different modulation schemes. First one is the voice grade modems. The channel bandwidth of a telephone cable is 300 to 3400 Hz. The telephone line is used as a medium for the widely spread composition of networks, but it is necessary to convert the digital data into an analog signal so as to transmit it over the telephone line. Therefore, it is necessary to use a data transmitter to modulate a voice signal. So for that purpose we use modem. We know that modem converts the digital data to analog data and transmit over a analog channel. Okay, so this one is the application. Then digital radio, the ratio transmission known as analog transmission, means it can be AM or FM. However, in digital radio, the information obtained from a source is transmitted to the receiver by using some kind of digital modulation technique. The microwave links are used for the communication, and the type of propagation used is line of sight propagation. Okay. The last one is the digital communications by satellite. The broadcast capability of a satellite channel can be exploited by using the multiple access techniques. There are three type of multiple access techniques, that are frequency division multiple access, time division multiple access, and code division multiple access. Okay. So TDM is ideally suitable for working with the digital communication system. So this is all about application. Thank you.